Number 1. Okay? So if you stack, and that's what it is, define it. Okay? And it's already going to know. So you put number 1, and look what it does. It already knows. Took the E off, put the ing, and that. You see what it did? So it already knows. You don't have to tell it, take the E off and add this, and don't put a space, and come over and then put that. You don't have to tell it all that. It already knows. If you define it correctly. And they try to make it as easy as they can with these brackets. And as long as you define it correctly, then it'll attach on and do what it's supposed to do. Okay? Now does it make sense? Okay. You can do this here if you want. I'm real leery with question and answer stuff about doing that, but you can do it if you want. So it's supposed to be make their duties any easier. Okay? So how would you do that? Slick?
I would just write it because I know what I meant. Because I'm the same way. My Q's and A's, I don't want to fix that because sometimes I might sort that as a.
I like that. I like that. You know what? Just write it in. Okay, let's just say that you wanted to do it that way. So let's just say your cursor's right here. What would you do?
G. Wait, what are we trying to write easier?
Yeah. What's the easiest way to do it?
Oh, W.
Uh-huh.
R.
W,
R.
R. Excellent. Yes. Did you see what it did? Ace?
I was trying to do it on mine and I missed my, I was trying to do it on mine for example.
The W is the endings, and then I think it's still going to come up. I don't know. It may be in the advanced class. I don't know.
What is?
Anyway, the W on hyperkeys. No, it's not. It's in this class because we've already covered it in the hyperkeys. You should already know it on prefix and suffix, and I think they may cover it right after this or whatever. But let's just say, and I don't want to do it. I don't like doing it, adding it on to the answers and questions, symbols, okay? So you want to do it the easy way, which I asked Slick about, and you do W, which brings up your prefix, suffix, and I want to add the suffix ER. So all I do is add R, push R, and that's what it did. So it took off the Y and added the IER. It already knows to do it. It already knows. But let's say you screwed that up. You press W, W again, and you're back. Okay? But let's just say you're that person who wants to define this as suffix ER question. How do you do it?
Highlighted G. Oh, you're already there. So G. And bracket. Period. ER. Bracket. No?
Yeah?
Yeah, keep going.
I don't know if you can put easy next to it.
No. Put in the suffix already knows to attach it. So start over. We've already highlighted. What do we need to do?
I'm stuck after bracket. Period. ER. Bracket.
Now you want to put the question symbol. What is that? Bracket.
Q. Bracket.
Yes. So when you highlight it, which one is it?
6.
Slick?
I'm still trying to figure out why
there's a question and they stacked it with the ER.
It's supposed to be easier.
Question, true.
Ace,
But
Slick, what do you think?
We put the Q in the brackets because it's like command, it's a
Commanding it
command
to-
unit to make like a Q and A. I think that's what I did.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Which one is it?
No, I understand why it's a question. I was trying to figure out why it was a question mark. But that's because they're supposed to come back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it stacked it.
Okay, I thought you were saying A was asking the question.
No.
Okay.
So which is the correct one?
Bracket, caret, ER, bracket, bracket, Q, bracket,
So what number?
6. Well, mine is 6.
Yeah. Number 6 is correct.
it's going on.
See what it did? Took off the Y, used to add the IER, come back question. You see how easy they make it when you put it in that bracket? All you do is the bracket, Q, bracket, it already knows. Return, Q, period, tab over, next cap. Already knows. But if you would have done it, like Slick said the first time when she was a little bit confused, how it was bracket, caret, ER, bracket, Q. And
What would that have been?
Just added the letter Q after E.
Oh,
I was trying to go back and do it.
I can do it on mine.
Well, I want, hang on. Okay. One of the students just asked, what would have happened if we highlighted it and we did bracket, caret, ER, bracket, Q. Which is what she said the first time. Just a little confused, no big deal. But I'm going to show you what it would have done. See what it did? See how when you don't define it correctly, it's not going to come out correctly. Okay? And it won't even let you correct it as an oops. Okay?
It's a global it again.
So you go back, global it again, which is it. Come back with number 6. But now we're going to do it. You know what? They didn't give us any. They didn't give us any suggestions right there. 0. So now you do bracket, caret, ER,
bracket.
bracket, bracket, Q, bracket. And that's all you have to do. That's as easy as that is right there. And it tells you what to do. Return, question, period, tab over, cap next. And when you define it correctly, it does it. Whoa. Oh, what? It didn't go back and fix the EZ. Let's see if it'll do it. Nope. No big deal. NIER, period, good to go.
Do 2 periods.
Always gotta stay on top. Gonna be teaching this class one of these days. Good eye, though, good eye. Very good, guys. This is kind of the same thing. What would you do right here?
That's an L bracket, period bracket.
Slick, what would you do right there? It's supposed to be no period.
G. I wouldn't know to put the bracket means on the period first or after. After, right? No.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, no bracket, period, bracket.
No.
Bracket, period, bracket.
Correct.
I just had a quick question. On your
So you're in hyperkeys, hang on just a second. So you do G. So which one is it gonna be? What number?
Seven.
Number 7. You agree? Ace? 7? Correct. What was it?
I'm just wondering what your rule is as far as when somebody's answering, they say yes or no, and then they continue on with their sentence. No, I don't think so. Do you consider that a period being okay, or can you use a
No,
comma?
I don't
True.
think so, or would you put, no, I
But
don't
that's
think
their
so.
duty.
Because one
I
time
think
I
you
did no
understand.
period, I don't think so, and all throughout my test, I was consistent with no period, yes period. Yes period, I was going to the store. No period, I was not going to the store. And then I was told that you're not supposed to do periods, you're supposed to do no comma, I was not going to the store, yes comma, I was.
Well, it all depends on what the question's asking too. You can't, it's not a standard rule. It's not a standard no period every time.
Was it, well, I understand that, because I know it could change, like, I can
Sometimes-
It
understand.
changes the meaning.
So right now, so the guy asked, true, but that's their duty. I think you underestimate their intelligence. And the guy replies, no, I don't think so, but you can say, I don't think so.
See, and I wouldn't have punctuated it like that. I would have done it like that.
Okay.
But by putting the period, it does change the meaning.
No.
I think you underestimate their intelligence. No, I don't think so. So he's not saying, no, I don't think so. He's saying, no,
I don't know.
I don't think so. So see how it changes it? And that's why I've always said, be careful with how you punctuate, because you can take one sentence and punctuate it 3 different ways, and it's going to have 3 different meanings. Totally. So you have to be real careful with that. You know, in the way that the person said it. Okay? Not what's easiest for the reader all the time.
So if there was less of a, for me, when I see the period, to me, I would have heard no, a longer pause, I don't think so. Instead of no, I don't think so, I would have put a comma because I heard less of a pause to me.
Yeah.
So I
No, I don't think so.
So it's all-
I base a lot of my punctuation, I guess, on was there a pause or was there
Yeah.
kind of all?
And that's what you do. No, I don't think so.
That's what's confusing, because you constantly hear you want to make it to where the reader, it's easiest for the reader, but then I
You don't want to change the meaning though. I don't care if it's easier for the reader or not. You don't want to change that meaning.
Because that's how I thought it should be, if you hear a long pause, and that.
Because if he goes in there and says, I think you underestimate their intelligence. No, I don't think so. You would still put a period? I mean, a comma?
Yeah. No.
No, I do it just like this. Because each one of those can stand on its own.
When you do a trail like a dot, dot, dot,
I'd do it just like this. Because he had 2 separate meanings. Do you underestimate him? No. I don't think so. But it all depends on the person. Because, you know, the person that I use to do my proofreading sometimes changes my stuff. You know, she changes it in the rough draft. So when I go through and look at her corrections, it's like, that's not the way they said it. But she doesn't know the way they said it. I was the one who was there. I was the one who edited it. So I know the way that it was said. She put the comma, and may have put the comma there because it's like, it's easier to read that way.
Do you send the proof of the audio attached to the file or simply the text file?
I just send her the hard copy. I print it and just send it to her.
Okay.
So she'll send it back and it's like, no, that's not what I did. So I have the option, because my name is going on that transcript, so I have the option to change it. Well, you know what? That's the way they said it. They didn't say, no, I don't think so. They said, no, I don't think so. Two things that can stand alone, okay?
What if they're talking really fast and then it sounds like it's one big sentence? Would you still punctuate it to put sentences in that long thing that they said? Like if they're talking really fast and they said a lot, they didn't breathe, but you found sentences in there that can stand alone, would you put periods or just leave it run on the way they said it?
It depends on how it would have to depend on the context, on how they said it. Because regardless of whether they're talking fast or not, they pause long enough at the end of a sentence. And we have an attorney that's like that. This guy is, no,
No, we want it all.
Yes.
No. One gets sleepy.
her. And you can tell when he comes to the end of his sentence. You know, and it's super fast. And, you know, I'm trying to think of a. You know, and he'll say, you know, did the kid go to the store? The kid went to the store. But his mom told him not to go to the store. He still went to the store. It doesn't matter if he went to the store or not. He went to the store. You see how fast he's talking, but there's just enough pause in there that shows you that it's the end of the sentence. So it doesn't matter how fast they're talking, you'll know. You'll know it's the end of the sentence. And it's not just a run-on sentence. Okay? Any questions about that?
Grammar of the spoken word is so much more subjective than grammar of the written word.
True that.
Occasionally, you'll need to add a prefix or suffix while editing. You can click on editing. You can click on a toolbar icon or open the edit menu to insert a prefix or suffix or press hyperkey W. At this dialog, G is a...
See what they went through? They showed you 3 different ways of putting in a prefix suffix. Okay? And I'm telling you, the easiest way to do it is W. In hyperkeys. In hyperkeys. Okay? And we've gone through it.
the shortcut. And this time I'll use the shortcut D. And of course the suffix.
And you see what it did right there? It doesn't matter
D.
how it's spelled, which is the correct spelling. And you wanted the past tense D, okay? Which puts the suffix, okay? And look at what it does.
And of course,
See how I changed it? Put the extra R, ED. You don't have to do any of that. It already knows to do it. All you do is pick the correct one. It already knows to do it.
these suffixes were added with the proper spelling adjustments. Much more could be said about prefixes and suffixes, but this is the subject of a separate in-depth ePower video tutorial, which shows you step by step how to take advantage of the prefixes and suffixes kit.
Good stuff right there. Spellings.
Let's see some of the ways that Automagic helps you prevent spelling errors as you work. Wording errors as you work. Word reversals are just one of the small problems that Automagic understands.
And I think we've already gone through this. We've already shown this or whatever, but you know, if you want to do a reversal, it's Shift R. So all it's going to do is toggle these two.
I don't get that in my Automagic. I've had instances, and I remember thinking that this week that where you could tell that I had
Yeah,
the word, and it never gave me that option to do that.
it's Shift R.
So I guess I would have to use it for it to,
It's not going to give it to you every time. It's not an option every time. It's going to know if you've done it before.
so doing the function is what is, I think. what you
Shift
said
R.
Is what it teaches.
Remember Shift R. Write it down right now. Shift R. Slick.
I have it written down from last
Where?
class. On my very first page, Shift R switches the words,
Well, yeah.
92115.
Quit yelling. Reverse. Very important. Okay, that's a good one to know. It really is. Okay? Got it? You do? Good. That's a good one to know because you'll do it a lot, more than what you think. And it'll reverse stuff, whatever. So it's a good one to know.
This question should have been, is she still working there? Pressing 5 is a fast way to reverse these words. This should have been working, but I need a different suffix. Pressing 2 here would be a fast way to fix suffix ing.
That's not the fast way. Okay? It's one way, it's not the fastest way. Okay? What's the fastest way?
Pressing W.
W. W right there. You don't even have to take off the S. All you do is hit G, and it takes the S off and adds the ing.
Here's another suffix problem. This
See
should
what
have
it
been
did?
on the form. Suffix ing. Here's another suffix
See what it
problem.
did?
This should
Ace,
You press the G and it said ing
did you see what it did?
on the farming.
No, up here.
Yeah, it doesn't even, you don't have to change anything, it changes it for you.
What did it take off?
It took off the S.
Okay. Just making sure.
have been on the form. Yes. Pressing 3 makes that correction. And now Automagic sees that I may need a comma in front of yes. Pressing a comma would quickly insert the comma in the proper